long before maps gave names to rivers, long before Connecticut was etched into the memory of Europe. There was a land alive with breath, rhythm, and spirit. Here, beneath towering oaks and whispering pines, communities thrived. They did not see land as property, but as kin. Every stream, every stone, every star above was a thread in a vast living web. The people of this land, ancestors of the Algonquian-speaking tribes, carved their lives from earth, forest, and sky. Their days began with the first blush of dawn, when the eastern horizon glowed like embers stirring to life. Women tended fire circles, grinding maize, roasting squash, and simmering stews thick with beans, herbs, and venison. The smell of wood smoke lingered in hair and clothing, a perfume of survival. Children darted through the village, chasing each other between bark-covered lodges. Their laughter mingled with the drumming of woodpeckers and the crackling of fire. Men prepared tools, shaping stone into arrowheads, tying sinew to shafts of ash, readying for the day's hunt. At dusk, when shadows lengthened across the valley, voices rose in song. Flutes made from bone carried plaintive notes that drifted into the canopy. Around fires, elders shared stories, tales of creation, of great spirits who once walked the earth in human form, and of the sky beings whose movements guided when to plant, when to harvest, when to rest. Hidden among rolling hills and quiet glades stood the chambers. Low, stone-built structures, their entrances aligned with the horizon. To an outsider's eyes, they may have looked like shelters or tombs, yet to those who lived here, they were far more. Each chamber was a calendar written in rock. At the solstice, the first light of dawn pierced narrow doorways, spilling golden fire along the chamber's floor. At equinox, stars aligned with sightlines carefully chosen by builders long gone who had listened to the language of the heavens. Inside, the chambers were cool, smelling of damp moss and earth. Carvings traced into the stones spoke in symbols, spirals, animals, human-like forms with outstretched arms. They were not idle markings. They were prayers, keys to mysteries locked in cycles of sun, moon, and stars. The people believed the world was layered. Beneath them lay the underworld, dark, damp, and filled with spirits of stone and water. Above them stretched the sky world, home to star beings, to the great thunderbird whose wings carried thunder, and to the sun who gave warmth and order. Between these realms was their own, the middle world, where humans, animals, and plants lived in fragile balance. A tale often told by firelight spoke of a woman who fell from the sky, carrying seeds in her hands. She landed on the back of a giant turtle who became the earth beneath their feet. From her seeds grew the three sisters, corn, beans, and squash, the gifts that fed them, the gifts they tended with reverence. To break this balance, to disrespect earth or sky, was to invite chaos. Storms, famine, and sickness were not accidents. They were messages, warnings to remember the covenant between humans and the land. Life in this ancient Connecticut was not easy. Winters could bite with cruel teeth, snow buried the land, and nights froze breath into crystals. Families huddled close in lodges wrapped in furs, while storytellers reminded them that spring always returned, as it had for generations uncounted. Summer brought abundance, rivers thick with salmon, forests alive with deer, lakes shimmering with wild rice. The people did not take without thanks. Before every hunt, a prayer was whispered. Before harvesting plants, tobacco was offered to the earth. Gratitude was a ritual woven into survival. To them, nature was not a resource. It was a family of beings, each with spirit, each deserving respect. Villages were bound by kinship. No one stood alone. When one family struggled, the community lifted them. When strangers arrived, they were welcomed with food and warmth, for hospitality was sacred. Yet not all days were peaceful. Rival tribes sometimes contested hunting grounds. Illness could sweep through a settlement, stealing children, mothers, elders. In those moments of grief, ceremonies rose. Drums thundered like heartbeats, songs carried prayers upward, smoke spiraled skyward, a bridge between the living and the departed. The stone chambers stood as silent witnesses through it all. Generations came and went, yet the alignments remained, unchanging, eternal. On the longest day of summer, entire villages gathered to watch the sun's first ray slide into the chamber, painting its interior with fire. Children gasped. Elders nodded, affirming what they already knew, that the world was turning, that time was keeping its rhythm. These moments were not spectacle. They were renewal, a reminder that humans were part of something vast and timeless, a great wheel turning in harmony with the cosmos. Today, we walk the forests of Connecticut and stumble upon these chambers, half buried by roots and forgotten by time. Some dismiss them as colonial root cellars, relics of a more recent age, but others look closer, at their alignments, their purpose, their spirit, and see something far older. Perhaps they are windows into the ancient heart of America. Perhaps they are echoes of a people who lived by the rhythm of stars, who built not for power or conquest, but to honor the dance of earth and sky. As the wind sighs through the pines and the sun falls in golden sheets across stone, we are reminded, history is not always written on paper. Sometimes it is carved in silence, waiting for us to listen. The stones remain, the alignments remain, and perhaps if we listen closely, the voices remain too.